Hello, my name's Elise, aka Assassin Agent, and welcome to my YouTube channel. On today's episode of Strawberries and Video Games, I just want to talk everything Halo Infinite right now, because I was lucky enough to get into the initial Halo Infinite tech preview this weekend via my Xbox Series X. So for this episode, I just want to share my highlights from that experience and talk about the good, the bad, and my overall feelings about where I think Halo Infinite is headed in the future. But first, let me explain what the Halo Infinite tech preview was all about, for those who might not know. Essentially, this was 343 Industries' first beta, or flight as they officially call it, for the Halo Infinite game, and they've alluded to the fact that there should be more flights or beta testing that will be happening up until the launch. Those who've been interested in participating have been encouraged to sign up for the Halo Insider program, and through that program, you can opt in for Xbox and or PC flighting. Once you opt in, only a select group of gamers are invited to each one of the flights, so it's not necessarily a guarantee that you'll get into these. And even though I was fortunate to get into the first one, there's no telling if I will get into the future flights. Also, with this first flight that opened over this past weekend, so July 29th through August 2nd, it wasn't set up such that we could just get in and play as if we were checking out the full Halo Infinite game, but rather we were testing specific new features that would be coming to the full game later this year. So with this first flight, we were checking out two play modes, as they called it, one being a sort of weapons drills academy, and the other being a bot slayer, which I'm going to talk about a lot. You could also check out a customize tab, which you could use to see different customization options and possibilities that might be coming to the vehicles, your armor, the weapons. And then finally, there was a shop as well, where you could check out a sample of the store, items you could buy in a store, and you could check out a sample battle pass too, where you could level all the way up to level 20 over the weekend. So it's pretty cool to check out all these features. It was a beta, so I found that it did have plenty of glitches and bugs, but I mean, that's beta testing. That was as expected. I did not feel like the bugs were substantial or show-stopping. I was also really excited to check out these new features that would be coming to Halo Infinite, and in particular was super impressed with this bot slayer. Before I get there, I think I'll save the bot slayer for last. Let me quickly just talk about some of the other features. So let me talk first about this weapon drills academy mode. It gave me the chance to check out all of the weapons, test them out. There was a pretty cool little shooting range, and I love the fact that you could set the bots or the targets that were in the shooting range to different levels, so you could practice shooting at them as they moved in different ways, and you would even get a ranking depending on your score. So this was pretty cool, especially if you're just kind of getting your feet wet, and I thought it was a great way to test out some of the weapons I had never used before without necessarily diving into a multiplayer mode and feeling like I had no idea how to use them. As for the customization options, that also excited me. Over the weekend, I didn't earn a ton of customizations, so there's a lot to kind of wait and see what they come out with, and I'm curious where they will go with it. But I did get to see different ways that I could customize my armor with, say, different color schemes. You can do the same for your weapons. There's different consumables you can apply, all sorts of new ways that you can filter and favorite items as well, which can be really handy and efficient. And it was cool to look at all the vehicles too and kind of spin them around. I can't wait to see what they do here. There's a lot more that's clearly coming in the customization tab. It was just kind of a little bit of a teaser. I also thought it was a nice touch that they now have prosthetic options that you can put on your Spartan as well. And last but not least, in the customization tab, what I thought was really cool was the fact that you can choose an AI, and you can actually choose from 4. So this is a little AI that talks in your ear during the multiplayer, and there's 4 different voices. They're cute little shapes, so they come in 4 different shapes, and you can customize your colors as well. I will admit I did get a little too sucked into actually playing the multiplayer to remember to switch to all the AI, so I only tested 3 out of the 4. But of the 3 that I did test, I thought the voices were cool, they had different catchphrases, and I thought that was really cute as well. And then also, they let you kind of see a sample store. That was cool because that's where you can get your battle pass, and you actually got to get an initial battle pass, and you could go and level up all the way to level 20 and earn different items. And they also gave you some currency so you could just buy different skins, consumables, etc. It was very limited, so they only had a couple items you could buy in the store. I think that was for the purpose of just testing out that the store worked and seeing how that interface worked. And overall, those features were fun, they were nice, they mostly worked. I felt the glitches were minor. I felt like I was getting a little taste of those things. But like I said, I ended up spending a lot more of my time in multiplayer mode, which I mean, who didn't? But I think we were all dying to play some multiplayer. And I have to say, this bot slayer that they launched was amazing. Also had some glitches there, but overall I was absolutely impressed by these bots. And I will admit, I was so eager to get into this flight when I found out that I was invited. I was kind of skipping through some emails that were sent and not paying attention. Didn't realize that I had gotten into bot slayer. I thought I just kind of got into a slayer mode. They did allude to launching just a regular PvP Slayer, which they did for just a very short window of time, and I'll talk about that too. But most of the weekend we did play Bot Slayer. So to kind of explain what that is, it is like traditional Slayer, so it's multiplayer where you're on a team of 4 and you're playing against a team of 4. But you and your teammates are actual people online, but the entire team you're playing against are bots. And they were impressive. They did not play like any AI characters I'd ever faced in any other game before. Hard to tell at first that they were actually bots, to be honest. After a while, you start to get used to it, and you do notice little patterns, little things they kind of do very repetitively, certain skills that they just don't seem to have. But I was impressed, and this was cool. And I also love the fact that throughout the weekend, they actually evolved. So the developers were purposely upgrading how challenging these bots were. So at first, I had a little bit of an ego boost, honestly, getting in. The games were, they weren't super easy, but we were winning. It was cool. We had our rhythm. And then the next day, the bots were not messing around. We actually would lose some matches to them, which was awesome. I never enjoyed losing so much, but I just thought that this was such a cool mode. It's a great way that we could kind of warm up before potentially playing PvP matches, but I can also see it as a way to just play in general, and people might prefer it sometimes, or just be, in a mood to just fight bots in multiplayer. Some other things that I really, really loved seeing in this bot slayer mode were the maps. So they let us play a total of 3 maps throughout the weekend. 2 that we could play from the start, and then a third one that was launched about, I think, a day later. And the first 2 felt like really classic Halo maps. I loved getting that Halo vibe. I loved, hearing that guy's voice who says, killing spree and announces all the things, and just, it just felt like Halo. But when they launched that third map and it was something a little different, a little bit more detailed, that was amazing too. So I love where they're potentially going with these new maps that don't quite look exactly like old Halo maps. You're still getting a Halo vibe, but the details in it, the fruit stands, the artwork, it just was so detailed and so cool, like previous maps hadn't been. And they even put in some funny little things, like there were chickens and rats running around that you could shoot and they would explode, so that was fun too. I also love the fact that now in multiplayer, it's not red team and blue team. You can customize your armor in the customization tab, and everyone can see it. They can see the color schemes you put on, and you'll just kind of glow. There's like an outer glow that you have that's red or blue, so you can still tell which team is the enemy team, which team is yours, but at the same time, see how everyone's customized their armor, and I love that they did that as well. There is some stuff that I think they still need to develop. My character was kind of getting bumped around kind of on its own. Felt like there was a ghost sort of nudging me at times. Did have some issues getting into multiplayer in the beginning, just waiting on the servers, so hiccups, but I feel like they were kind of predictable. I also do wish, I will say this, as they increased the complexity of the bots and how challenging they were, and we reached those final Spartan bots that they launched that were supposed to be the most difficult, they still lacked some skills that an actual player might have. So I do hope they further develop the bots a little bit. I think they were fantastic. Just maybe a little fine-tuning. For example, I would love to see bots that actively go after power weapons and use them very aggressively, whereas that was something the bots never really did. Whereas when they did open the PvP mode, that they did not promise as part of the beta, it was kind of a surprise that they added at the end, just for a couple hours. When they opened that, I immediately got slaughtered by someone who was going absolutely nuts with a hammer. So the bots did not train me well for fighting people who had power weapons in their hands. I will say that. So I also will say that PvP mode that they unlocked as a surprise for 2 hours, nice that they threw that in. They were kind of alluding to that, but it wasn't meant to be part of the flight, so it's just kind of a little, extra something. I don't feel like 2 hours was enough to really enjoy it though. They did not announce if and when they were for sure going to make that available, so I was not in front of my Xbox when they first launched it, and I didn't really get to check it out much before they shut it down. So that's another thing I will say about this beta. I do wish that they had just saved PvP mode for a future flight, and hopefully we'll see that. Hopefully in future flights, for an entire flight weekend perhaps, it'll be all PvP. I'm not sure. Yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun with it. My gut feeling is that it will in fact still launch holiday of 2021, like they said. They still have not had a date, but it's supposed to be sometime this year. I can see it. I can believe it now. I feel like the biggest thing that we might have to worry about on launch date is just getting on the servers. I'm not worried that it's going to get delayed. I'm worried that it's going to launch and we're going to have a lot of patience on day one with all of us just jumping on and just taxing those servers to the max. But I honestly have a really good feeling about Halo Infinite, and I hope I'm right. I hope it still launches this year. I hope it's amazing. I hope everybody loves it. And if there's still some bugs in the system, hopefully they're still just minor things. But I am so excited. But anyways, that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I just wanted to share my experiences and share some of the highlights from this weekend, and I can't wait to see what's to come for Halo Infinite. Anyways, if you did like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if in general you've been liking the content on this channel, please be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you later.